Jesus Christ. That was genuinely horrifying. Holy shit. That show was almost too creepy to actually just read out. Oh my god. Welcome to the DK YouTube channel and welcome back to r/no sleep. I know we slightly missed October, but it is still in that spooky season that you just get jump scared out of nowhere like boo. Oh wait, never mind, I've just been turned on. But before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the recent support on my videos. It's been a bit mental, especially that Cyberpunk Edgerunners video. Didn't expect that to do so well, especially for a Reddit channel where I don't talk about anime. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that's seen that video, and anyone who subscribed since then, I sincerely thank you. And I hope you stay around for the long run. And anyone who's considered subscribing, subscribe. My girlfriend was up unusually early this morning. I wish I never found out why. I'm going to take out the trash, my girlfriend Monica announced as soon as I entered the kitchen that morning. I hadn't expected to see her up this early, certainly not after how late she must have gotten home last night. After spending Friday nights bar hopping with friends, Monica usually slept in until lunch. Okay honey, I said without particular interest. Thanks. Grabbing the cereal box from the counter and plopping down on one of the kitchen chairs, I wondered if she had returned home earlier the previous night and I'd simply missed it. I mean, I normally woke up as soon as I heard the key turning in the lock. But perhaps that night she'd been particularly quiet, or maybe she'd stayed with one of her friends. How was your night? I asked as soon as I heard the front door click shut. What time did you get home? Silence. I raised my head from the bowl, waiting for her to emerge from around the corner, but the corridor was empty. Honey? I tried again, my voice saturated with uncertainty. Monica appeared in the doorway, her expression unreadable. She didn't look disorientated or drunk, but she didn't seem quite right either. Her hands were fidgety, and her eyes wouldn't meet mine. Monica, I grunted, trying to tame the lump in my throat. What's the matter? She took a deep breath and parted her lips, as though she was going to speak, but then hunched her shoulders and shook her head. I need to take out the trash, she said. I gawked at her, dumbfounded. But you just did. She shook her head and glided towards the trash can cabinet, opening it and producing another bag from within. Then, just like the previous time, she turned on her heel and disappeared from the kitchen. Needless to say, the silent treatment was unlike Monica. Had something happened during her night out? Had I done anything to upset her? And where were all these bags coming from? As soon as I heard the front door shut, I leapt out of my seat and threw the cabinet open, expecting to, well, I'm not entirely sure what I was expecting. Either way, it was empty. What's going on? I asked when she returned 5 minutes later, the same empty look in her eyes. Do you want to talk about it? She looked dubious. Monica? Okay, she said, but first, let me take out the trash. My stomach lurched as she flung the cabinet open again, pulling out yet another garbage bag. What the hell? I began subconsciously pinching my arm as if to ensure I wasn't dreaming. What are all these bags? But she wasn't listening, instead turning her back to me and retreating the same way she had come. A chill crawled up my spine. What the hell was going on? I could have sworn the cabinet had been empty only a few moments ago. Where had all these bags come from, and why wasn't she taking them out all at once? Shutting the front door behind me as meticulously as I could, I crept down the hallway leading to the stairwell. I needed to investigate. Monica had never willingly taken out the trash before. She said the garbage chute gave her the creeps. Our apartment was on the 6th floor, so there was no way she was going down all those flights of stairs for a single bag of garbage. The door to the garbage chute at the end of the hallway was ajar, and I could hear the faint wail of metal as it was pulled open. I swallowed, suddenly at a loss for what to do. I mean, wouldn't it be weird if she just found me standing there? And what exactly was I planning to say? I listened in, my skin prickling in anticipation and my heart thudding in my chest. Oh, what was I getting so worked up for? It was only Monica, for God's sake. She probably had fallen out with one of her friends. Or maybe I was snoring again and she couldn't get to sleep. I'll just go in as... But what I saw when I opened the door will remain with me for the rest of my life. Monica was sitting on the door of the chute, her legs already swallowed by the darkness within. Slowly but surely she was edging her body into it, her palms clammy against the metallic finish. She turned her head at the sound of the door opening, and for a brief moment her eyes lit up with recognition. Monica, I cried out, dashing towards the chute, my heart practically leaping out of my chest. What are you? But it was too late. Startled by my voice, or by my presence. She let go and disappeared into the chute, a raspy wail reverberating against the steel. Thud. I wanted to scream, but it was as though I'd suddenly gone mute. Fear sizzled through me like electricity as I flew down the stairs to the manager's office. "Give me the keys to the trash room," I demanded breathlessly. "My girlfriend is inside." He looked at me over the top of his glasses, as though questioning my state of mind. "That's impossible," he retorted. "I have the only key." Tears were flowing freely down my cheeks, and my clothes were damp with sweat. I must have looked a downright sight, but I didn't care. "She fell into the chute," I sobbed, grabbing the edge of his desk for support. "From the 6th floor." Everything happened quickly after that. An ambulance was called, as were the police. At first they were hesitant to tell me what they'd found. They kept insisting I sit down and have some water, throwing leaflets about therapy and mental well-being into my lap. "Please, just tell me. Just tell me," I kept repeating, but nobody was listening. Hours seemed to pass by without a single word of affirmation or any information needed to piece the events of the morning together. The ambulance left within about 20 minutes of arrival and left the police to take care of it. I couldn't understand it. I mean, even if Monica was badly hurt, she still needs to be looked at the hospital, so why had they left? Eventually, an uneasy looking officer took a seat next to me. "Son," he began slowly, studying my reaction, "your girlfriend is gone." I buried my face in my hands. Of course she was. She jumped down the fucking chute, plummeting God knows how many feet. "But your story isn't quite adding up," he continued, his eyes narrowing. "You said she'd fallen into the chute, but..." He took a deep breath, his forehead creasing. "But we found her, well, parts of her, inside a garbage bag." My blood ran cold. It was like I could no longer understand what he was saying. His mouth was moving, but the sounds were jumbled and wouldn't make sense. Inside a garbage bag? What the hell was that supposed to mean? He explained that the garbage bag had been there for at least several hours before the police were called. He said that there was no doubt that its contents belonged to Monica. He asked whether I had any idea what happened. Then, in a much softer tone, he added that I'd be expected to come in for questioning. When I finally returned to my apartment that morning, all I wanted to do was fall into bed and go to sleep, praying I'd wake up to discover that all this had been nothing but a bad dream. But as soon as I entered the bedroom, the front door slammed shut. "Hello?" I called out, my voice meek and croaky. Silence. A newfound sense of dread filled my lungs as I recalled the events of the morning. As I tiptoed slowly towards the kitchen, I couldn't help wondering if... No, it couldn't be. She was leaning over the trash can cabinet, a new garbage bag in her grasp. She spun around and our eyes met. "I'm just going to take out the trash," she said. I stared at her, my breath catching in my throat. Here she was, right in front of me, talking about trash as if it were the most casual thing in the world. In a feeble attempt to make her stay, I asked the only question I could think of. I asked it, even though I knew the answer already. What's in the bag, honey?" Jesus Christ. That was genuinely horrifying. Holy shit. That shit was almost too creepy to actually just read out. Oh my God. That was just mental. So the guy actually hallucinated his girlfriend going down the chute and parts of her being in garbage bags. What the fuck? That is, yeah, that will keep you up at night, I think. I'd say on this channel, we usually like to kind of make light of these sorts of things, but... yeah, not that one. No, I don't want to get haunted for the rest of my life, so we're going to move on. And here we are for the second and last post for this week's video of r/no sleep, because, like the name suggests, I'm getting no sleep tonight. We never open the door when there's only one knock. "Please, just let me in. It's getting cold." The voice was familiar, only older than I remembered, very close to detail. "Lala, please." Using my old nickname was a nice touch as well. I sat on the floor next to the door, my arms wrapped around my legs. Of course this had to happen the 1 week my parents left me alone. They hadn't gone on vacation for years. I practically begged them to get away for a while, for their own good. If I called them, they'd come right back, but I don't think that would have helped me anyway. Besides, I wasn't an idiot. I heard the knock, and I would not open that door. When someone comes to your house, they will ring the bell or knock a few times. Most people like to play safe and simply use the bell, and then you open the door as you normally would. But never, absolutely never should you open the door when there's only one knock. It was the very first thing we were told when we moved into this neighbourhood all those years ago. There are a bunch of rumours of people disappearing or suddenly dying after opening their doors, though they all supposedly happened before we even lived there. I never believed in it, not even when I was little. We got a badass over here. This town was simply insane. Most people here were a little eccentric and unusual. Well, that's what I believed until I heard my lost sister call for me after the one loud knock on our front door. "Please go away," I whispered. Even after all those years, I recognised her voice, and when I heard it, I jumped right up, ready to open that door wide, but I knew it wasn't her. I looked through the window. There was nobody in front of our door. I don't know how much time had passed before I finally grabbed my phone and called Max, who's not only our neighbour, but one of my closest friends. "She's here," I said. I knew it wasn't making much sense. I didn't know how to word my thoughts. "Who? Where?" he answered. "Ruby." Silence. "What?" Max started speaking but stopped. "She knocked." That was enough information for him. "You didn't open, did you?" I shook my head, which of course he couldn't see. "I'm coming over now, okay?" I'm not sure how many minutes passed, but Ruby has stopped asking me to open the door. "Hey Lainey, I don't think the bell is working. I heard Max. Maybe they screwed with it." I swallowed. "You could knock." There was silence for a little while, followed by one loud thud. When I didn't open the door, the sound of Max started shouting loudly, "Open the fucking door." His voice became louder and louder until it hit a frequency that almost made my eardrums explode. I didn't move, I didn't speak, and finally the doorbell rang and the voice became silent. Slowly I got up from the door to look outside. This time it really was him. The last time I saw her, we had the biggest fight of our lives. We were sitting in the living room with tea that had already turned cold. I don't open up about Ruby often, but hearing her voice today really messed me up. And all because of stupid Jack. I rolled my eyes. Max smiled. "A boy?" I shook my head and laughed. Jack was a stuffed toy in the shape of a pumpkin. I never told Max about the fight. In fact, nobody but my parents knew about it. I loved that damn thing. Won it at a Halloween carnival. When Ruby saw it, she begged me to give it to her. She cried for hours because she hadn't won it. And even when my parents said they'd buy her another toy, she wouldn't stop. She wanted mine. Well, she wanted to be just like you. "It's sweet," I nodded. Ruby was a year younger than me, but she used to act as if we were twins. She wore my clothes, played the same sports, and always wanted to hang out with me and my friends. When I think about it now, I think it was adorable. Of course, back then, I found it insufferable. I sighed. For days, I took Jack everywhere with me, even to the bathroom. It was probably out of pettiness, but that toy became everything to me. So when I came home from school one afternoon and saw that Ruby had cut it in half, I screamed at her like never before. She only looked at me with big teary eyes. Max put his hand on my shoulder. "Come on, Lainey. Siblings fight. It's normal. I saw you with her though, and you were a damn good big sister." I nodded, of course. I knew it was just some stupid fight between kids, but if I could turn back time, I'd give her every shitty toy I owned. This happened 5 years ago. Ruby would be 16 now. My parents have tried everything for years to find her. I believe the only reason we still live here is that they never entirely gave up the hope that she'd come back home one day. Maybe now she was, in a different way. "Do you think I'm losing my mind, Max?" He raised an eyebrow. "I think you lost that a whole while ago," he joked. "No, I'm serious. I mean, it's not possible that I actually heard her earlier." He shrugged. "I mean, you did hear a knock. I don't think it was actually her though." Max and I used to make fun of the superstition. When we were younger, before Ruby disappeared, we once played Ding Dong Ditch. After a few houses, Max decided to knock once at the door of our neighbour, Mrs. Telsky. Someone saw us though, and Max got the biggest lecture of his life from his grandpa, like it was a really big deal. My parents weren't happy either, but Max was grounded for 2 months, during which his grandpa told him all sorts of horror stories from this town. I don't think it was her either, but I do think it was mimicking her, or trying to, I said. For what it's worth, I think it was smart that you didn't open the door. Maybe we're all just a little crazy, but better safe than sorry, right? Max offered to stay the night, and I immediately said yes. We got the air mattress and watched movies until I started to hear him snoring. The good thing about Max was I never felt awkward around him. He regularly stayed over since we were little, especially often after Ruby was gone. Having him here really helped against the silence. My mind became easier, and my body heavier. Real thoughts started to mix with dreams. I was beginning to fall asleep, and then there was another knock. It came from the front door downstairs, but I heard it loud and clearly. My heart started racing, just like it did this afternoon. Max, did you hear that? I whispered, but he didn't answer. Lala, it's dark. Please come and get me. Ruby's new voice cried from outside. Max, please tell me you hear this. I looked over at him, but he didn't move. Finally, I collected the courage to get up and turn on the lights. Max, the eyes of my friend were wide open, but he didn't speak. He didn't move. I ran over to him and tried to shake him, but his whole body was stiff. Only his eyes moved. Let me in, the voice from downstairs screamed. I didn't know what to do anymore. Max was clearly awake, but it seemed as if something was holding him back. Almost like he was having sleep paralysis, but with his eyes open. They're pulling me away, Lala. Please help me. I don't know what happened then, but I immediately jumped and ran downstairs. Some kind of instinct kicked in. Maybe it was her. Maybe I could pull her back inside. But if this really was Ruby, was she also the one doing this to Max? My hands touched the cold door handle, moving almost as if I was in a trance. I have Jack. They fixed him, Lala. We don't need to fight anymore. Those words pierced through my body and woke something up inside of me. I stepped away from the door and walked back upstairs, passing my room where Max was still lying still. But I didn't stop. I walked to the next room, Ruby's old bedroom. Everywhere there looked just the way it did when she was still here. My parents could never change it. Everything was still the same, and Jack was still placed on her bed where I put it 5 years ago after I'd sewn it back together. They almost got me. Horrifying that they could affect Max like that, but good that they seemed not to be able to force anyone to open the door. Do you think they got Ruby somehow? Either when she was home alone to open the door, or another way when she was out? Or are they just using her going missing to get to you? Regarding Ruby, that was my immediate thought. All I'm saying is, thank God I don't live in that neighbourhood. What a great episode of r/nosleep. I'm so glad this is popular on my channel, that people want me to keep doing this. I love doing this. Please help me. Thank you to everyone out there who made it to the end of this DK YouTube video. I'll be uploading to this channel every single week, so if you don't want to miss a video, make sure to subscribe and turn the post notification on. And if you did make it this far, please make sure to leave a like and comment saying your favourite bit from this video, as that will help me out so much in YouTube's algorithm. Thanks to everybody for watching, and for a final note for this video, watch Arcane on Netflix.